Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of her ship and looked at the stars through the big window. She had been in space for many years, but the beauty of deep space still made her feel amazed. Her ship was called the USS Liberty, and it was one of 3 ships in her small fleet. They were far from Earth on a routine patrol mission near the edge of human space. Lisa was a tall woman with short brown hair and kind blue eyes. She had worked hard to become a captain, and her crew trusted her completely. Commander Maya Brooks stood beside her at the control station. Maya was younger than Lisa, with long red hair, and was very good with weapons and tactics. The communication officer turned around in his chair and looked worried. He said there was a strange signal coming from deeper in space. Lisa walked over to listen to the signal. It was unlike anything she had ever heard before. The signal had normal radio waves like human technology used, but there was something else mixed in. It sounded almost like music or singing, but it was clearly a distress call. Maya frowned and said the signal was coming from a place where no human ships should be. The area was unexplored and very dangerous. Lisa knew that regulations said they should report back to Earth Command and wait for orders. But something about the signal made her feel that whoever was sending it needed help right away. Lisa made a decision that would change everything. She ordered her fleet to change course and follow the signal. Her other 2 ships were smaller escort vessels with good captains who trusted Lisa's judgment. They followed the USS Liberty deeper into unknown space. As they traveled toward the signal, the space around them became stranger. There were clouds of colorful gas and strange energy readings that their sensors could not explain. Maya reported that their instruments were picking up technology signatures that did not match anything in human databases. Lisa felt excited and nervous at the same time because this could be first contact with alien life. After several hours of travel, they reached the source of the signal. What they found was beyond anything Lisa could have imagined. Floating in space was a huge field of broken ships and debris. The wreckage stretched for thousands of kilometers in all directions. Some of the broken ships looked elegant and curved, like they were grown rather than built. Others looked like they were made of crystal and metal. Lisa ordered her ships to stop at a safe distance while they scanned the debris field. The sensors showed that there were survivors in some of the wrecked ships. Maya reported finding 2 different types of technology and life signs. One group appeared to be humanoid but with different biology. The other group was clearly not human at all. As Lisa studied the readings, she realized that this was the remains of a battle between 2 alien fleets. Both sides had suffered terrible damage, and many ships were completely destroyed. The survivors were trapped in their damaged vessels and could not repair their engines to escape. Lisa felt a chill when she thought about what this meant. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and these aliens had been fighting each other. She wondered if they would be hostile to humans or if they could be helped. The distress signal was still broadcasting, and Lisa could hear the desperation in it even though she could not understand the language. Commander Maya approached Lisa with more sensor readings. She reported that both alien fleets had technology that was far more advanced than human science. Their weapons were incredibly powerful, and their ships could travel faster than anything humans had built. Yet they were stranded here, unable to fix their faster-than-light drives. Lisa realized this was a moment that would be remembered in human history. She was the first human to make contact with alien life, and there were not just 1, but 2 different species. The decision she made now could determine whether humanity would have allies or enemies among the stars. The communication officer called out that he was receiving a new transmission. This one was different from the distress signal, it seemed, like someone was trying to communicate directly with their ships. The transmission contained mathematical sequences and star charts that showed the sender was intelligent and trying to establish peaceful contact. Lisa took a deep breath and made another decision that went against all regulations. She ordered her communication officer to respond to the transmission using the same mathematical sequences. If these aliens were trying to talk to them, then she would try to talk back. Within minutes, they received a response. The alien transmission now included basic images and symbols that seemed designed to establish communication. Lisa could see that whoever was sending the message was trying very hard to show that they were not hostile. They were asking for help. Maya warned Lisa that this was extremely dangerous. They had no idea what these aliens were capable of or what their intentions really were. Earth Command should be notified immediately so that proper first contact protocols could be followed. Lisa knew Maya was right, but she also knew that by the time Earth Command sent proper diplomatic ships, these survivors might be dead. Lisa looked out at the debris field and made her choice. She ordered her ships to move closer to the largest surviving alien vessel. She told her crew to prepare for the most important mission in human history. They were going to attempt to rescue alien survivors and hopefully make humanity's first friends among the stars. As the USS Liberty moved through the debris field, Lisa wondered what kind of beings they would find and whether this day would be remembered as the beginning of a beautiful friendship or the start of a terrible war. The first alien Lisa met was beautiful in a way that took her breath away. The being had pointed ears and silver hair that seemed to glow with its own light. Her skin was pale and perfect, and her eyes were the color of deep space. She was tall and graceful, and wore clothes that looked like they were made from starlight itself. When she spoke, her voice sounded like gentle music. The alien introduced herself as Aelith Starweaver and explained that she was the navigator for her people's fleet. She said her people were called elves, and they had been traveling through space for many years after their home world began to die. Lisa was amazed to learn that elves were real and not just creatures from old Earth stories. Aelith looked at the human technology with curiosity and seemed surprised that such a young species had developed space travel. She explained that her people's ships were powered by something she called stellar magic, which was their way of controlling the forces that held stars together. Lisa did not understand how this was possible, but she could see that it worked. The second alien was very different from Aelith. This being was tall and covered in green scales, with large yellow eyes and sharp teeth. She moved with the grace of a predator, and Lisa could see powerful muscles under her scaled skin. When she spoke, her voice was deep and strong, and she held herself like a warrior. This alien called herself Admiral Zaranel and said she commanded what remained of the Vorthak Empire fleet. The Vorthak were a proud warrior race who had been exploring this part of the galaxy for centuries. Zaranel explained that her people's ships were powered by living crystals that could store enormous amounts of energy. At first, the meeting between all three species was very tense. Aelith and Zaranel clearly did not trust each other and both seemed uncertain about the humans. Lisa learned that the elves and Vorthak had met by accident when both fleets were traveling through this area of space. A misunderstanding about territorial rights had led to the battle that destroyed most of both fleets. Commander Maya worked with her technical teams to study the alien technology and try to understand how it worked. She was fascinated by the elven ships, which seemed to be grown rather than built and responded to their pilots' thoughts and emotions. The Vorthak ships were equally amazing with their crystal cores that pulsed with living light. Dr. Amy Rodriguez joined the team as the chief linguist and scientist. She was a small woman with dark hair who was very good at learning new languages. She worked with both Aelith and Zaranel to create a basic translation system so all three species could communicate more easily. As they talked, Lisa learned more about why both alien fleets were in this part of space. Aelith explained that her people were refugees fleeing from something she called the Devourers. These were machines that consumed entire worlds and turned all life into energy to feed themselves. The elves had been running from the Devourers for many years. Zaranel confirmed that her people had also encountered the Devourers and had been fighting them for generations. The Vorthak were warriors, but even they could not defeat machines that could tear apart planets. Both fleets had been searching for a safe place to hide and rebuild their strength. Lisa felt a chill when she realized that these Devourers might eventually find Earth if they were not stopped. She asked both aliens to tell her more about these mechanical enemies. What she learned was terrifying. The Devourers were ancient machines that had destroyed their creators long ago and now traveled from star to star, consuming everything in their path. Maya reported that their long-range sensors were detecting ships approaching their location. The energy signatures matched what the aliens had described as Devourer technology. The mechanical fleet would reach them in less than 2 days, and none of the damaged alien ships could escape in time. Lisa realized that all three species were now in deadly danger. The Devourers would destroy the human fleet along with the aliens if they were found here. She knew she had to make a choice between saving her own people and helping the aliens who had become her responsibility. Aleph and Zaranel both offered to surrender themselves to the Devourers if it would save the human ships. They said their people had caused enough death and did not want to bring destruction to a new species. Lisa was moved by their willingness to sacrifice themselves, but she had a different idea. Lisa proposed that all three species work together to fight the Devourers. She pointed out that humans were good at adapting and combining different technologies. Maybe they could find a way to merge elven stellar magic with Vorthak crystal power and human engineering to create something powerful enough to defeat the machines. At first, both aliens thought this was impossible. Ileth said that stellar magic required years of training and a deep connection to the forces of space. Zaranel explained that Vorthak crystal technology was bonded to their biology and could not be used by other species, but Lisa refused to give up on the idea. Dr. Amy Rodriguez made the first breakthrough when she discovered that human brain patterns could actually amplify both elven magic and Vorthak crystal resonance. She theorized that because humans were newer to space travel, their minds were more flexible and could adapt to alien technologies in ways that surprised everyone. Maya Brooks led a team of engineers from all three species to begin working on prototype, weapons that combined their technologies. The work was difficult because the three different approaches to science and engineering were so different, but slowly they began to make progress. Aleph taught the humans basic principles of stellar magic and was amazed when some of them could actually learn to manipulate space energy. Zaranel shared the secrets of crystal programming and found that humans could sing to the crystals in ways that produced unexpected results. As the teams worked together, the barriers between the species began to break down. Lisa noticed that Aleph and Zaranel were starting to respect each other and even work as partners on some projects. The shared danger from the Devourers was forcing them to put aside their old conflicts. But time was running out. The Devourer. Fleet was getting closer, and their scouts were already probing the edges of the debris field. Lisa knew they would soon be discovered, and then the real test would begin. She hoped that the alliance between three very different species would be strong enough to survive what was coming. The work to combine the three technologies was harder than anyone had expected. Beth Turner was the best human engineer Lisa had ever worked with, and even she struggled to understand how Elven's stellar magic actually worked. Beth was a practical woman who liked machines that followed clear rules, but stellar magic seemed to change based on the user's emotions and intentions. Aleph tried to explain that stellar magic was not really magic at all, but a way of using quantum fields that connected all matter in space. She said that elves had learned long ago how to feel these invisible forces and guide them with their minds. When Beth asked for mathematical equations, Aleph could only say that the math was written in the heart, not on paper. Dr. Amy Rodriguez worked day and night to find the scientific principles behind stellar magic. She discovered that when Aleph used her abilities, the quantum signature of nearby space actually changed in measurable ways. Amy realized that what elves called magic was actually very advanced physics that humans were only beginning to understand. The breakthrough came when Amy noticed that Aleph's magic worked better when humans were nearby. She tested this carefully and found that human brainwaves somehow amplified the quantum effects that Aleph created. Amy theorized that human minds were naturally good at quantum resonance because humans had evolved on a planet with unusual magnetic fields. Meanwhile, Beth was learning about Vorthak crystal technology from a being called Thektar, who was both an engineer and a priest to his people. Thektar explained that Vorthak crystals were actually living organisms that could store and transform energy. The crystals responded to specific sound frequencies that Vorthak called crystal singing. Beth was frustrated at first because she could not make the crystals respond to human voices. But then she realized that the Vorthak were not just making noise, but were creating very precise harmonic patterns. She built electronic devices that could produce the same frequencies, and suddenly the crystals began to glow and pulse with power. Lisa watched the teams work together and felt proud of how quickly the three species were learning from each other. She spent most of her time with Aleph and Zaranel planning their defense strategy. The Devourer scouts had found them, and the main fleet would arrive within hours. Zaranel explained that Devourers were not truly alive, but were artificial intelligences that had been built by an ancient race millions of years ago. The machines. had been designed to consume raw materials and build more machines. But something had gone wrong. They had destroyed their creators and then spread across the galaxy, consuming everything they found. Aelith added that the Devourers were incredibly adaptable and learned from every battle. They would study the weapons used against them and quickly develop countermeasures. This was why no single species had ever been able to defeat them. The machines always found a way to overcome any technology they faced. Lisa realized that their only advantage was that the Devourers had never faced a combination of 3 different technologies working together. The machines would not know how to counter weapons that used elven quantum manipulation, powered by Vorthak crystals and controlled by human engineering. The first hybrid weapon they created was mounted on Lisa's ship. It combined a Vorthak crystal core with elven quantum focusing arrays and human targeting computers. When they tested it, the beam that came out was unlike anything any of them had seen before. It seemed to bend space itself and could destroy targets at incredible distances. But building one weapon was not enough. They needed to modify entire fleets of ships to have any hope of defeating the massive Devourer armada that was approaching. Beth worked with teams from all 3 species to design hybrid ships that could be built quickly using salvaged parts from the debris field. The new ships were strange and beautiful. They had the flowing organic curves of elven design combined with the crystal matrices of Vorthak technology and the practical engineering of human construction. Each ship was unique because the teams had to work with whatever salvaged parts they could find. Lirelei Moonwhisper was an elven weapons master who helped design the combat systems for the hybrid fleet. She was smaller than Aelith, with golden hair and fierce green eyes. Lirelei had been skeptical of working with other species, but she quickly came to respect human creativity and Vorthak engineering skill. As the hybrid ships took shape, Lisa began to hope they might actually have a chance. But then their sensors detected the true size of the approaching Devourer fleet. There were hundreds of mechanical ships, each one larger than anything the Alliance had built. The machines had enough firepower to destroy entire solar systems. Zaranel gathered her remaining warriors and explained the battle plan. The hybrid ships would use hit-and-run tactics to draw the Devourers into the debris field where the larger, mechanical ships would have trouble maneuvering. Meanwhile, teams with the new quantum weapons would try to target the Devourer command ships. Aelith worked with human volunteers to teach them basic stellar magic techniques. She was amazed that some humans could learn in hours what took elves years to master. She began to believe that humans had a natural gift for adapting to new forms of energy manipulation. Lisa felt the weight of command as she prepared for the most important battle in galactic history. If they lost here, the Devourers would eventually find Earth, and humanity would face the same fate as countless other species. But if they won, they would prove that cooperation between different races was stronger than any individual technology. The hybrid ships moved into position as the first Devourer scouts entered the debris field. Lisa stood on her bridge surrounded by crew members from all 3 species working together at stations designed with merged technologies. She looked out at the approaching mechanical fleet and gave the order to begin humanity's first interstellar war. The battle started with long range attacks as the hybrid weapons reached out across space to strike at Devourer ships. The quantum beams carved through mechanical armor like it was paper, and several enemy scouts were destroyed immediately. But the machines quickly began to adapt, and their return fire was devastating. Lisa watched as one of her escort ships was hit by a Devourer energy weapon and exploded in a ball of fire. She realized that even with their new technology, they were still badly outnumbered. The real test was just beginning, and she hoped their alliance would be strong enough to survive. What was coming next? The main Devourer fleet arrived like a dark storm cloud blocking out the stars. Lisa had never seen so many ships in one place, and each mechanical vessel was the size of a small city. The machines moved in perfect formation with no wasted motion, and their weapons began charging with an ominous red glow that could be seen across the entire debris field. Maya reported that their sensors were being overwhelmed by the energy readings from the Devourer fleet. The machines had enough firepower to crack planets, and their defensive shields were stronger than anything the Alliance had ever encountered. Lisa felt her heart sink as she realized that even with their hybrid technology, they were facing impossible odds. The first wave of Devourer attacks came without warning. Beams of pure energy lanced through space and struck several of the hybrid ships before they could react. Lisa watched in horror as ships that had taken days to build were reduced to glowing debris in seconds. The mechanical precision of the attack was terrifying to witness. Zaranel roared orders to her warriors as they fought back with everything they had. The Vorthak crystal weapons sent spirals of brilliant energy toward the mechanical fleet, but the Devourers adapted quickly. Their shields shifted frequency to deflect the crystal beams, and their return fire became even more accurate. Aelith tried to use her stellar magic to confuse the Devourer targeting systems, but the machines seemed to learn from every trick she attempted. Lisa realized that they were fighting an enemy that could become immune to any weapon given enough time. The Alliance was losing ships faster than they could destroy Devourers. Dr. Amy Rodriguez called Lisa with an urgent discovery. She had been monitoring the quantum effects during the battle and noticed something strange when Aelith used her stellar magic near human crew members. The quantum resonance was much stronger than normal. Amy believed that human neural patterns could amplify elven abilities far beyond what anyone had imagined. This gave Lisa a desperate idea. She proposed that volunteers from all three species attempt to link their minds together to create a combined consciousness that could control the hybrid weapons directly. Amy warned that such a mental connection had never been tried between different species and could be extremely dangerous. Aelith and Zaranel both volunteered immediately despite the risks. Aelith said that elven stellar magic was already based on mental connection to quantum forces. Zaranel explained that Vorthak warriors had ancient traditions of battle meditation that might help with the mental linking process. Beth Turner worked frantically to build the technological framework needed for the consciousness bridge. She had to combine elven quantum manipulation devices with Vorthak crystal resonance chambers and human neural interface technology. The resulting machine looked like something from a science fiction nightmare. As the Devourer fleet pressed their attack, the Alliance lost more ships. Lisa made the hardest decision of her career and ordered all remaining vessels to retreat to the center of the debris field, where the largest hybrid ship was waiting. This ship had been built around the consciousness bridge device and would serve as their last hope. Lisa volunteered to be the human component of the mental link, even though Maya protested strongly. As captain, it was Lisa's responsibility to take the greatest risks, and she would not ask her crew to do something she was not willing to do herself. She said goodbye to Maya, knowing she might not survive the consciousness bridge. The mental linking process began as the three women sat in chairs, surrounded by quantum field generators and crystal resonance chambers. Lisa felt her mind stretching beyond her body as alien thoughts and memories flooded into her consciousness. For a moment, she thought she would be lost forever in the swirling chaos of three different kinds of awareness. Then suddenly, everything clicked into place. Lisa could feel Aelith's deep connection to the quantum forces that bound the universe together. She could sense Zaranel's warrior instincts and tactical knowledge gained through centuries of battle. At the same time, both aliens were experiencing human adaptability and creative problem-solving. The consciousness bridge allowed them to control the hybrid ship as if it were an extension of their combined will. Lisa felt the power of stellar magic flowing through human intuition, while Vorthak battle experience guided their movements through space. Together, they were far more than the sum of their individual abilities. They piloted the hybrid ship directly toward the largest Devourer vessel, which served as the command center for the mechanical fleet. The machine ships turned all their weapons toward this single target, but the consciousness bridge allowed perfect coordination between offense and defense. They dodged energy beams that should have been impossible to avoid. The battle became a dance of impossible beauty as the hybrid ship moved through space in ways that defied physics. Aelith's stellar magic bent reality around them, while Zaranel's warrior spirit drove them forward with unshakable determination. Lisa's human creativity found solutions to problems that neither alien could have solved alone. As they approached the Devourer command ship, Lisa realized what made the machines vulnerable. The artificial intelligences were perfect at adapting to predictable patterns, but they could not handle truly random and creative responses. The consciousness bridge created a type of chaos that the machines could not process or counter. The final assault on the command ship was like nothing that had ever happened in galactic history. The hybrid vessel channeled the combined will of three species into weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. Space itself seemed to twist and bend as quantum forces responded to emotions and dreams rather than mathematical equations. The Devourer. Command ship tried to defend itself, but its artificial intelligence could not understand attacks based on intuition and creativity rather than logic and planning. The mechanical defenses that had protected it for millions of years simply could not adapt fast enough to counter the consciousness bridge. When the command ship exploded, the destruction was visible across the entire star system. The blast sent shock waves through space that disabled dozens of other Devourer vessels. Without their central coordination, the mechanical fleet began to break apart as individual ships tried to retreat in different directions. But the victory came at a terrible cost. The consciousness bridge had burned out most of the hybrid ship's systems, and Lisa felt her mind pulling apart as the mental link collapsed. She barely managed to disconnect from the alien thoughts before losing herself completely in their combined consciousness. Lisa woke up in the medical bay with Maya sitting beside her looking worried. Amy reported that the consciousness bridge had worked but had caused severe mental strain on all three participants. Ileth and Zaranel were also recovering, but they had all pushed their minds beyond safe limits. The Devourer fleet was scattered and retreating, but they had achieved something more important than military victory. The three species had proven that cooperation and unity could overcome any challenge. They had forged bonds that would last forever. 3 weeks after the battle with the Devourers, Lisa stood in front of a panel of Earth Command admirals trying to explain what had happened in the debris field. The admirals looked skeptical as she described alien technologies and consciousness bridges that seemed impossible to believe. Admiral Kate Sullivan was the most critical and questioned whether Lisa had the authority to make first contact decisions. Lisa knew that her career was probably over, but she did not regret the choices she had made. She had saved 2 alien species from extinction and proven that humans could work with other races to achieve incredible things. When Admiral Sullivan asked if she would make the same decisions again, Lisa answered without hesitation that she would. Dr. Amy Rodriguez presented her research findings to the panel and tried to explain the scientific principles behind stellar magic and crystal technology. The data she had collected during the battle was revolutionary and would change human understanding of physics forever. Some of the admirals began to realize that contact with alien species offered incredible opportunities for advancement. Meanwhile, Ileth was working with human scientists to establish the first Institute of Stellar Magic on a research station near Earth. She was amazed by human enthusiasm for learning and their ability to adapt ancient elven techniques to modern technology. Human students were mastering quantum manipulation faster than she had thought possible. Beth Turner had become the leading expert on hybrid technology and was working with both Elven and Vorthak engineers to design new types of spacecraft. The ships they were creating combined the best features of all three civilizations and promised to revolutionize space travel. Beth was excited about the possibilities, but also worried about the responsibilities that came with such powerful technology. Zaranel faced her own challenges as she tried to convince the Vorthak High Council that alliance with humans and elves was the path to survival. Many Vorthak traditionalists believed that their warrior culture should not be mixed with other species. But Zaranel had experienced the power of cooperation firsthand and would not be deterred by conservative thinking. The Consciousness Bridge experience had created an unbreakable bond between Lisa, Aelith, and Zaranel. They could still sense each other's emotions and thoughts even when separated by vast distances. This mental connection made them incredibly effective as a diplomatic team and helped bridge the gaps between their very different cultures. Earth Command eventually decided that the benefits of alien contact outweighed the risks. The technology gained from the elves and Vorthak would advance human civilization by centuries, and the alliance provided protection against future threats like the Devourers. Admiral Sullivan grudgingly admitted that Lisa had made the right decisions even if she had broken regulations. Lisa was promoted to Admiral and given command of the new Interspecies Defense Force. Her first assignment was to build a combined fleet that could protect all three species from external threats. The hybrid ships that Beth Turner designed became the backbone of this new fleet and proved to be more effective than anyone had imagined. The signing of the Trinity Accord was held on a neutral space station built specifically for diplomatic meetings between the three species. Lisa watched with pride as representatives from Earth, the Elven Collective, and the Vorthak Empire formally established their alliance. The ceremony was broadcast across known space and marked humanity's entry into galactic politics. Aelith became the first alien ambassador to Earth and helped establish cultural exchange programs between the species. She was fascinated by human art and music and introduced humans to elven poetry that could literally reshape reality through quantum manipulation. The cultural mixing that resulted created entirely new forms of expression. Zaranel was appointed as the Supreme Commander of Alliance military forces and worked with Lisa to develop new tactical doctrines that combined human strategy with elven intuition and Vorthak aggression. Their joint training exercises produced military formations that were unlike anything previously seen in galactic warfare. The first joint exploration mission launched 6 months after the Trinity Accord was signed. The USS Harmony was a ship, designed from the beginning as a 3-species collaboration and served as the flagship for humanity's expansion into deep space. Lisa stood on the bridge surrounded by crew members from all 3 races and felt a sense of completion. But the galaxy was not peaceful, and other alien races had taken notice of the new alliance. Some viewed the 3-species cooperation as a potential threat to their own power, while others saw it as an opportunity for new partnerships. Long-range sensors detected ships approaching from several different directions, and Lisa knew that new challenges were waiting. The consciousness bridge technology had been refined and improved based on what they learned from the first battle. Lisa, Aelith, and Zaranel could now link their minds safely for short periods and use their combined abilities to pilot ships or coordinate complex operations. This made them the most effective command team in known space. As the USS Harmony traveled toward unexplored regions of the galaxy, Lisa reflected on how much had changed since she first received that strange distress signal. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe and had proven that cooperation between different species could overcome any obstacle. The 3 races had become stronger together than any of them could have been alone. Dr. Amy Rodriguez continued her research into consciousness bridging and believed that eventually entire crews might be able to link their minds for brief periods. This would create ships that responded to pure thought and could perform maneuvers that individual pilots could never achieve. The implications for both exploration and defense were staggering. New alien races began making contact with the Alliance. As word spread about the defeat of the Devourers, some came seeking protection while others offered trade agreements or scientific knowledge. Lisa realized that the Alliance was becoming the foundation for a new type of galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than conquest. The final entry in Lisa's log recorded the discovery of signals from a previously unknown species that appeared to be in distress. She smiled as she gave the order to investigate because she knew that helping others was what the Alliance did best. The 3 species had learned that the universe was vast and dangerous, but also full of opportunities for those brave enough to reach out to strangers. As the USS Harmony changed course toward the new signals, Lisa looked at her mixed crew and felt confident about the future. They had proven that different species could work together to achieve impossible things, and they would continue to explore the galaxy as partners and friends. The age of isolation was over, and the age of cooperation had begun.